Oh, shit. Oh. Shit. Fuck. Spotify listeners have no idea what's going on right now.
Every single fucking time.
Take my hand.
There it
Fuck
is.
yeah.
Absolute fucking dog.
And we're back.
Oh,
What a time.
we're still going here.
We're still
We're
going,
doing all
and
right.
we haven't lost any pieces.
No. We've
it's
also
good.
moved about one piece last episode, so
Quite literally, yeah.
it is what it is.
We're just too intimate. Welcome back to the new episode of the Split Shift podcast, where we cut through the bullshit and the noise of the fitness industry. My name is Dan.
My name's Jamie, and we're about to crack some. What do we got? I got grape soda. This is from the
Dropping splash.
beautiful Kimmy downstairs.
Appreciate her. Wait, you didn't even cheese, man.
Oh, cheers, bro. Oh, how's it taste? That's all right.
It's good.
That's good.
Should we do something about this person?
Who the fuck are you?
Hi guys, I'm Kimmy from downstairs.
What the heck?
How are you?
Ah.
Just thought, a few drinks.
This is super awkward. I would have put some shoes on.
Guest episode. This is our first ever guest episode.
Oh my God.
Do you want to run through the intro, Jimbo?
Oh, let's go.
go.
So, for anybody that doesn't know, this is Kimmy Byrne. Kimmy began her journey as a dancer at just 4 years old. At 14, she left home to pursue a full-time dance training while being homeschooled. And at 18, she had earned a coveted dance scholarship in New York City. After years of chasing her passion on stage, she returned home and at 25, transitioned into personal training and competitive bodybuilding. For the past 7 years, Kimmy had channeled her drive and discipline into entrepreneurship, successfully owning and operating 3 sports supplement stores. Her story, which we're all about to hear, are very, very deep, hopefully. She's got some stuff to tell us. Her story is one of reinvention, resilience, and being one of the Illawarra's most genuine and likable personalities. Welcome, Kimbo. Also,
Welcome.
you are going to need this.
You may regret giving
When we were going through, when we were looking into getting our first guest in, our first initial person, genuinely was just like, we want Kimmy. We want Kimmy. Not because we steal her supplements and her drinks. But it feels
free cans for life.
It feels right. I'm gonna shoot off the first question. I hope you don't mind.
Okay, let's see what you've got for me today.
Let's do it. So, as you probably know, we're very much around the mindset, long term. With your story is absolutely incredible. And what my first question I want to ask you with is that you've done it all. You've worn so many hats. You become a dancer, trainer, and also now a business owner. What's a mindset belief you had as a dancer that no longer serves you, and what did you replace it with?
Oof. Starting with the tough questions here. Wow, okay, so I think growing up as a dancer, from a very young age, we're taught to be perfect. Perfection is what we're striving for. I owe all my discipline to being a dancer, but we were told that our technique had to be perfect. The performance had to be perfect. We had to show up to class with not a hair out of place. We had to make sure that our uniform was tidy. Our ribbons were tucked in. And for me, I think the biggest thing that I've had to shift away from perfection is realizing that perfection is important, but it can't stop you from doing things. And yeah, for me, just like realizing that along my journey now, it's far from perfect. There's plenty of flaws. There's plenty of speed bumps, but you just got to continuously show up, even on the days where things don't feel perfect, that you want to keep going. And I think that's the biggest mind shift that I've had to had. And I'm sure like you guys as PTs and coaches, you understand that as well. Like for our clients and everything like that, how perfect is their journey, but they're still getting results. Yeah.
I love that. Consistency all day, right?
Yeah. Consistency is key with that.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah.
Was there, throughout that journey, was there like a moment that was really distinctive where you were like, that's where it needs to shift. That's where it's not serving me anymore. Consistency. I just need to do it.
I think the biggest shift for me probably came when I was bodybuilding. I realized a lot then, even though I wanted to be perfect, I couldn't be perfect every day. And that was a really big eye-opener for me, that even though there was days that I stuffed up, I could make changes in the following days that still allowed me to achieve such brilliant results, even though it wasn't a smooth sailing thing. You know, I always had support during those times. I had guidance, but the journey was just all over the place, and we still achieved great things. And I think that's with anything in life, with our, you know, businesses, achieving health goals. It's never going to be a perfect straight road. And we need to set that perfection mindset away if that is something that's stopping us from getting where we need to be.
I love that so much. Like, we talk about consistency, as you know, as an avid Split Shift pod listener.
I am. I listen to
I
you guys every
know.
week.
You keep saying it. You are the pinnacle of Split Shift pod. That's why you're here right now. That's why you're the number one. You're
I
first
wouldn't
up.
be here if I didn't love you guys and what you talk about. So I'd be like,
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, dancing and, like you said, bodybuilding, ridiculously strict, right? Like, ridiculously,
Super.
you need to be consistent. You need to be fucking perfect, right? How much have you learned from that, and how has it impacted how you are currently, what you're doing at the moment?
I think, you know, that strive, like I was always very goal driven.
Yes.
And like from a young age, you're taught to have a goal. We've got a performance coming up, an exam, you know, and even with bodybuilding, you have that show date. So I think that has really helped my success by knowing I have a goal, and that consistency and effort has to be done to achieve that goal. If I didn't have the discipline to keep showing up, I would never be where I am today, because there were times where you felt like giving up and I could have just chucked in the towel. But showing up day in, day out, even if it was the littlest moment that I showed up for, it still like compounded into the success that I have today. So I think discipline and resilience was massively important to me along the journey.
100%. Hell yes, Kimbo.
Very
Lovely first question for the first guest of the Split Shift pod. Absolutely beautiful. All right, let's shoot. So you've likely faced barriers most people can't see at each stage of your journey. You've done, like Danny said, you've worn a lot of hats. You've done a lot of very, very cool shit as well. How do you keep moving forward when the problem feels like it's coming from within you? Your mindset, fear, self-doubt. How do you continue to move forward?
So a lot of people might not know this about me, but I have so much self-doubt even to this day. I am probably my own worst enemy when it comes to it. And you guys have known me for a while, and so obviously have Laws and Stell and that. And I think anyone looking from the outside in knows that I have the potential to see brilliance in other people. I know their full potential, and I will be their biggest cheerleader along the way. But it is something that I don't do for myself. I have so many doubts about taking bigger steps, you know, what is the next step? And sometimes I do question myself to the point that I stop something from happening. And it's something that I have been working on. But I think like the biggest thing for me to overcome that was surrounding myself with like-minded people like you guys, you know, being able to be around people who know that, you know, they can help you see your potential, or you can speak to them about your doubts and they help you understand that. So I think having a good group of people around you who that you can talk to makes a massive difference when it comes to, you know, breaking that self-doubt and moving forward from it. I think also a big thing I've had to realize with self-doubt is growth takes time. Even though I may action something and it doesn't seem to be working, and then I start questioning myself, did I make the right choice? Did I make the right move? I think trusting the process and allowing time for that growth to happen really helps keep my self-doubt at bay. Like, I can't just wait for instant results, because otherwise I would just be like canceling everything I did. Just give it time, give it space, and it will blossom. It's quite funny actually that you bring up self-doubt, because there's a funny story with Elite Sup Shell Harbour when I was meant to buy it 7 years ago. We had signed the contracts to do the sale, and 10 days after I signed the contract to buy a failing business, I had a massive self-doubt moment, and I slammed on the brakes and I called the CEO of, you know, Elite Sups, Dominic. He was on a family holiday, and I said, I can't do this. It's not going to work. Cancel the contract. I don't want to buy the store anymore.
he just, over the phone, I could see him just shaking his head and he's like, Kimmy, it's a done deal. The contract's signed. He's like, I don't want you to feel like this. So what can we do to help you make this a success? He's like, leave it with me and I'll come back to you. So pretty much my self-doubt threw on the brakes and I pretty much was just thrown in the deep end, and it was like a fly or sink moment, or swim and sink moment. Like I either had to throw myself into it and, you know, squish those doubts and just make it work, or I was going to have a failing business on my hand for a long time. So yeah, it's quite funny, you know, taking it to that, because, you know, self-doubt nearly hindered like what I have today. And if I wasn't squished or pretty much told, no, you have to frickin' do this, I wouldn't be sitting here today with, you know, the experience I have either. Yeah.
100%. Self-doubt's so gnarly, and it's good to see, I think, for people to see that somebody of your caliber having done so many cool things still feels that day to day. Is there anything that you do day to day when that does come up? Like if you have those self-limiting beliefs or that self-doubt thought or self-talk, is there anything that you do in particular to sort of drown that out a little bit or still keep pushing forward?
Yeah, I think I just continue showing up. It's that consistency. Yeah. Like even those days that I have those self-doubts around myself, it's like, Kim, just do it. Like go for it. Like if you don't make that next step, you're just going to stay where you are. And so that's, I think, my biggest thing I've got to do. I just still show up even when I'm like, what am I doing? You know, what am I doing? Just show up, take that risk, and don't let fear hold you back.
I love that. I see a lot of value in that personally as well. Just like the exposure therapy of just putting yourself in that environment and taking it as like a learning opportunity to grow from it. Someone like, you know, for myself who's spoken on the podcast, listeners will know about it. I had anxiety, you know, like when I was younger, even coming into PT, when I loved the industry, but I was so scared of so many different things. But it was just that moment of like, got to throw yourself in there and take it as a learning opportunity. I absolutely love how you've got, you know, that way of thinking. And it's literally, it brought you from, you know, from when you're a failing business to a highly successful business to only 3 now.
Yeah.
The results speak in itself, right? Like that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess, like, yeah, I sort of call my store the Cinderella story, like from rags to riches. We went from like the worst performing store in Australia. Obviously, Elite's grown a lot in the past 7 years as well. There's only about 20 stores when I started and bought Shahaba, and now there's over 100. But Shahaba's now like the #1 store in Australia. And it's like, crap, we did this from a space of self-doubt. We've grown it to this. And, you know, something that, like I've mentioned before, is like, our minds go the worst case scenario. We process and we think of it. And, you know, those self-doubt moments, you're like, what's the worst that can happen? And God, we can come up with some crazy stuff of what can happen. But how often in our life has that worst case scenario actually happened? Usually it meets us halfway. And if we get lucky and really really dedicate ourselves, we can get the optimal side of things. But it's that, yeah, it's very rarely the worst case scenario if you're willing to put in the work.
That is an absolute fact. Nice, Kim. So good. Following off that is that with my question for you, we talk about the power of the why. The why is the backbone of everything essentially that we do. And again, same goes, the listeners will know, we talk about the why pretty much almost in every episode because of just the gravity behind it. We kind of want to dig into your why a little bit and love the importance of your why. So my question I want to ask you is, so you've gone from working on your body as a dancer to building businesses that helps others.
Yeah.
How do you stay connected to your why on the hard days when motivation feels just out of reach?
Well, I think for me, like with what I did previously, like with dancing, with bodybuilding, my why was always super selfish. I had to be selfish in those moments. It was all about, you know, making the perfect technique, putting in the hours to become the best. Same with bodybuilding. I wanted to be the most shredded. I wanted to do everything to win. Was I ever the most shredded? No, but, you know, that was the goal. My why was very selfish. But as I've transitioned into becoming a PT at first, and then even with the store, my why's become about bringing out the best in other people, helping them find their strength, helping them find their full potential, helping them achieve their goals. And for me, I think being able to see those people achieve those goals or say like, thank you, that has helped me, or just see that little moment where they have that aha moment. That's what I need to do. That's motivation enough for me. Like, I thrive off that stuff. It's excites me. It fills my cup. It makes me a happier person, and it makes me want to do more. And I'm sure you guys feel the exact same, like with your clients. I mean, like, you can't be a coach or PT unless your why is to help others. So like, I'm sure you guys can identify with that feeling, like, a lot. Like, yeah.
Oh, could not agree more. Could not agree more. I love that it's with your why. It almost feels like that when it comes to motivation in itself, it's not really ever a concern for you. You can see it in like how you present yourself, is that the motivation, let's just say your why, is presented every day, every moment with that one customer. How many customers do you see all the time? And it's always presenting itself. So do you feel like that's always that constant reminder just there? So do you really argue in having bad days if we really think about it?
I mean, we all go through bad days, but I don't think my bad day ever affects my why. I think that's the big thing. Like, I have bad days maybe personally, but then, yeah, you're like, someone might say, yeah, I lost that 10 kilos after I did that body scan with you. And like, I've now known some of my customers for 7 years. Like, I've seen their kids go from like babies in a pram to 7 years old. And that's my why. I love it. I love connecting with people. And some days I might be having a bad day personally. I go into that storefront and it can change my outlook of the day because, you know, I'm very blessed with what I do. I get to show up every day and do something I love. And that little constant reminder of people achieving goals, you know, even if it's like, you know, buying their first house, or, you know, it might not be fitness and health related, but hearing people's wins, God, I love that. Like, I thrive off that. Like, it makes my energy 10 times more. Like, I get all like giddy, like it's like my win. And I think, yeah, that's the big thing. Like, I show up knowing that I love what I do. I'm lucky and blessed to be doing it. And it's great seeing people win.
You can see it. It really,
Yeah.
really shows. It really shows. That's epic.
Hell yeah. One thing like that I really, really respect and love about you is exactly that. You're always showing up for the little guy. You're showing up for everybody, regardless of who they are, regardless of what they're doing for work, what they're doing, how they're doing at the gym. If it's just a customer that just wants to chat, you consistently show up the same way every fucking day, regardless of what's going on for you. And people said the similar thing around my coaching style, how it's an energy-based thing. You know, it's like, how do you keep performing at this level all the fucking time, regardless of what time of the day it is? And I say it's a practice. I need to actually consciously put effort in to be able to show up that way. Do you have a practice or anything that you do to be able to show up even when you feel like shit?
I mean, yeah, I think it's a big part of my personality. I've been like this way since I was a little kid. My mum used to joke, like, what happy pills did you take each day? But something that I've always taken with me is that I treat people in the way that I wish to be treated. And I want people to show up with energy when they speak to me. I want people to be connected when they speak to me. And I think that is something that I try and do every day, because it's amazing. Like, gosh, I see you at the gym at 4:30 in the morning. You know, well, I'm not there at 4:30, but, you know, I get there at 6. I've heard about it. But I see him at 6 a.m. And, you know, I see the amount of, I'm honest, I'm not hit there at 4:30. But I see the energy you bring, and that makes your client's day. And, you know, that's how I try and be. If I can be that little life in that, because you don't know what that person's going through behind the scenes. And it doesn't take much for you to be a nice person and give them your undivided attention in that moment. So that is something you know, it is habitual, but I think it's also part of my personality as well. Yes. It doesn't drain me to create this as a habit. Yes. It only makes me more energetic and more wanting to connect with people. Like, I think that is huge connection with people. And yeah, it's something that I don't think everyone can do. People who are very introverted might find that it completely drains their energy, but they may need to look at what job they're doing. Like, I don't think some people can do certain jobs if they don't have the personality to do it. Or will they be the most successful at the job if they don't have the personality to do it? And sometimes it just takes a bit of practice, but sometimes it might never come, or you showing up that way may make you unhappy. And then you've got to realize that that's not who you are. Yeah.
100%. And also maybe ask yourself, is that something I want to do? Do I want to be that person that has to show up that way every fucking day?
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to be that person, then don't start.
Exactly.
You know? But I think what you have is extremely rare. Like, it's extremely rare, and it's fucking fascinating to actually watch. So I love it. I love it. Anyway, next question. So on the Split Shift Pod, we are constantly talking about practices. We're talking about tangible things that we can do and the listeners can do day to day, week to week to help better themselves.
Yes.
I want you to help them right now. So looking back
Pressure's
at
on.
everything you've achieved, from discipline of being a dancer to building trust as a personal trainer, like we were just talking about, to running several supplement stores with employees that absolutely love you as well. What are the top 3 habits that have been the most responsible for your success, and how could somebody listening to the Split Shifts Pod right now start implementing them today?
Ooh, okay, 3. This magic word's about to come back in here. Consistency. I'm a big believer that you just need to form habits, show up, do it, and it will make it work. You know, that is a massive thing for me, is consistency. Number 2, self-reflection. Being able to look inwards and ask yourself the questions, is this the right way about going about it? I feel stuck in this moment. How can I make changes to move forward? I don't like what I did there. It didn't go the way I planned. What's the next step? So being able to look inward and really figure out what's the next step. Some people might see that through meditation and journaling. Definitely not something that I am very great at practicing. I don't know about you guys, but I'll ask you that in a second. And then the last one would be embracing failure, I think, for me, as being able to be successful, learning that failure isn't bad and using that failure to continue with growth. So yeah, I would say consistency, self-reflection, and embracing failure. How do you guys go with meditation? I don't know. Like, you guys have so much energy. I don't know if you're like me and can't, get it going, or what's your guys' thoughts on meditation and journaling? And
Well, for me, like, meditation was huge. Meditation was huge for me early on in my career in particular, when I was sort of becoming this person, which ended up being who I am right now. When I first started personal training, I've spoken about it on the podcast before. When I first walked through the door at that PT, course, whatever, this weight off me just dropped, and I was like, I don't give a fuck anymore. Then I got a coach, as in a mentor, and he taught me everything about meditation, breath work, personal development, all that sort of shit. So I had this big list of things that I was doing each week, and that is literally responsible for the exponential growth of who I became today. Like, at the moment, so back in the day, I would meditate every day, breath work every day. I would journal, do all that sort of shit. So ridiculous amounts of self-reflection, which I think is really good for people at least once, just to really find out who the fuck they are. And once you know that, you can run with it. At the moment, how I work my life day to day and week to week, and definitely year to year, is I box my different areas of my life up into different rooms. So say my mental health room. Early on in my career, I had a lot of self-doubt. I didn't believe in, who the fuck am I to be a personal trainer? How could I tell this person what to fucking do for exercise? That's crazy. I'm just a dude. Getting rid of that shit, I had to really focus on that room in my life, my mental health room in my life. As that sort of settles and that's all good, and that's, sitting up at the high 90, 100%, I can focus on other rooms. Business, physical health, hobbies, relationships, all that sort of shit. I do a little dance between all these different rooms of my life, depending on what's struggling or what's falling behind, because you only have 100% to give. So you can't give 100% in every fucking room of your life all the time, because you end up just fucking running thin and doing pretty shit at all of them.
yeah.
So yeah, in answer to your question, yes, meditation for me was massive before. I don't do it too much these days. I do breath work every day, but that's just more for energy. So get that energy boost, because I'm about to fucking hit the gym at 4 a.m. and I've got to scream at that client the same way I would scream at the client at 5 p.m. So I've got to be able to show up the same way for every single person. So I can't be walking in there like a zombie. So that's more to wake me up, all that sort of shit. But meditation and all that heavy self-reflection, I do that more so when I feel like I need it as a supplement, more than like a daily habit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love everything about that shit. What do you reckon, Danny, guys?
Well, you said it really, really well. I tend to do a little bit similar. I personally, over time, I've definitely done a lot of personal development, especially, and meditation really aligns with me. I'm the same. I use it in dosages when I need it, and when I need it, like when I notice that something's lacking, and it kind of ties into with the self reflection stuff because when I'm feeling like, I'm feeling a bit more anxious, or even when I, tend to get like things like, if you're in the business industry, you know about it, but imposter syndrome, feel like, who am I to say I can, run this business and train these people? All these things are more, I see them more as guidelines for me. And not so as much my enemy, but more so as like my friend to say, hey, there's something lacking in your life that you need to address. And then that's where I look more within to say, okay, what am I missing? And similar to what Jamie said with the rooms, I'm like, all right, my business life feels like it's lacking. What do I need to do to fix that? Yeah. My mental health really sucks. Man, I need to work on that. And so once you start picking apart, I'm like, oh shit, I haven't been meditating as much as I like to, or I haven't been getting as much sunshine, gone for my walks, which was important to me. It's just when I just attack that, and ultimately it just improves everything. Similar to what Jamie says, like I was definitely much around pleasing everything, trying to get everything dialed in, and then I was just cooked all the time. Yeah. So it's just a matter of just like prioritizing, do what you can, feel like what's lacking, look within and reflect as well. But personally, to answer your question as well, meditation is a big one. Personally, when I do it most of the time nowadays because I find that with my brain, I think too much. I tend to reflect a little too much. And reflection's good, but on me on the flip side, I can tip the scale this way. And I may think I need to change too many things. And what meditation does for me, it kind of grounds me, brings me back down, anchors me to think, okay, no, just think of more of a level head and be a bit more rational with my decision making, things like that. That's kind of the way I tend to go about with it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I've tried meditation, I've tried journaling, and you guys know me, I'm pretty energetic and bubbly. I just find I've struggled to switch off. I have done breath work with people before, and I have done group breath work as well. And for me, group breath work, I know I cannot do anymore because I took way too many other people's energies on. I was in that room, and I think I took everyone else's energy onto me, and I didn't know how to protect myself. So I do breath work by myself, not in a group setting. But my biggest way is like something as simple as, for me, self-reflection can be going for a walk down by the beach. I don't wear headphones. People often go, you're not listening to music? And I'm like, no, that is my time to clear my head, to empty my cup and really look inward and think, how am I doing? I also recently discovered a really good way for me to let things out is voice noting myself. And sometimes when I get too much in my head, like you sort of said, like, you overthink things, I just speak into my voice notes. And if anyone ever found my phone, please don't listen to my voice notes. You'll think I'm crazy. But it's the way for me to like decompress or like take what's going on in that mind of mine and putting it into action. It's sort of like, I know this sounds lame, but speaking to a friend sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes you just actually need to say the words to be like, Kim, are you serious? Like, get that thought out of your head. You don't even need someone else to say it to you. Just by saying it out loud, you realize how stupid that, bit of doubt is, that concern is, just by verbalizing it. And so, yeah, I've been doing a lot more voice noting as far as, I guess, my journaling way. Instead of putting pen to paper, I just speak because I find that I'm more truthful if I just go on a rant than me trying to make things look pretty on paper. Yeah. So
it's like what you said before, how like our brain will want to think of the worst case scenario all the time, like puts us in this fight or flight, where we can be able to rationalize, find our meditative practice that works for if it works for us, like yours with walking and the voice memos. That's alignment that works perfectly fine, and that brings us back to a baseline where we can think a bit more clearly. I think that's super cool. That's super cool.
So never listen to my phone. If I leave it unlocked, don't go into voice notes.
It's so good. So good. Anything else you want to add to that one, man?
I reckon we're all good. Let's run it.
Let's do this. So looking at with my question, with the practices and habits, again looking with the reflection side of things, that one is super key. We see a lot of value in that. My next question I want to ask you is that, looking back at the person you were when you first started dancing, what do you think you'd say if she saw who you are now?
Oh, what would little Kimmy say to big Kimmy? Hey, I think she'd be really proud of how much growth and evolvement has happened, since being that dancer and having such a narrow mindset. There's been a big journey along the way to get me from being a dancer to being who I am. And it's been a roller coaster of emotions, I guess. I have to say that growing up, I was very blessed when I did move away and was learning, to become a professional dancer. We lived in sort of like a boarding style facility where we lived with our dance teacher, her brother who was a cop, her other brother who was ex-army and our personal trainer, and their mum who was a sports psychologist. And something she taught me from a young age, which has really carried through with me today and helped me deal with the fear of failure around my own personal self, was who I am and what I am. Who I am is I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm a niece, I'm a soon-to-be auntie. And yeah, those sort of things will never change. The what I am is, I was Kimmy the dancer, I was Kimmy the bodybuilder, Kimmy the coach, Kimmy, the business owner. So many different things have happened over the years for me to get where I am today. But my core value of who I am is, definitely, still that I'm someone's daughter, and that's never going to change. So I think learning that and being able to focus on those things and not being afraid to change what I am has really helped me. Like when I was injured and I couldn't dance anymore, my world could have fallen apart, but I knew that I still had those core things of who I am, and the what I am was about to shift and change. So yeah, something that, I'm proud of, that I've learned that things don't always last forever in your life with what you are, but you can get the most out of it. So yeah.
Wow. Hell yeah.
Bit deep there, sorry guys.
That was,
Yeah.
I love that.
Well put. Wow, that's so good. I love the who you are and what you are. We talk so much about identity and our beliefs of who we are. And I love it just you distinguish that. You can mold that to who you want to be at different stages of your life that aligns with you. So do you feel that with, you're kind of getting at that stage where there's going to be a new level of transformation, a new version is arising?
Yeah, I mean, I really think this year I've sort of felt a shift coming. It's funny, I've looked at my past years and I actually work in 7-year cycles, and I never really noticed that before. But I was in America for 7 years. I moved home and was a PT. And I don't know, towards the end of the last year, even though I love what I do and I'm not stepping away from the business, I feel like there is a shift coming where maybe I focus on some other things and add something to my what. And then I thought, shit, I've owned the business for 7 years. Here's another 7-year cycle sort of hitting. And I think it's just I guess that caterpillar to a butterfly thing. Like I've been that caterpillar brewing and growing and setting some foundations and, spreading my wings soon, into something more and adding something to my what. I don't know what it is yet. And as I said, it's not changing me being in the storefront and being in the store, but there's a little piece I feel like is missing, and I'm really excited to discover it as we move forward.
That is so fucking cool.
That's
Fun fact, mine is 6 years.
Oh, 6
So
years.
every single place I've worked, 6 years.
Yeah.
So that's so interesting.
Connor, watch out. It's getting close.
Which camera am I looking at? No, but I really love that whole, I'm somebody's daughter, I'm somebody's, that sort of thing. Do you feel like that is somewhat or partly responsible for how grounded you seem and how, I guess, likable as a person you are, because you don't seem like you have your head up in the fucking clouds, even though you have all this success in everything that you've done. Everything that you've done, you fucking absolutely killed it, right? Like you made the top of the pops in most of the things that you've, pursued.
Yeah.
Do you think that mindset in itself has kept you at a personable level?
I think so. Like I never have seen myself as someone, who's better than anyone else, and that I guess is the grounding of it. I've also had to work hard for everything I've had as well. Like nothing's been handed to me over the years. I wasn't just handed a business. I moved back to Australia with not a cent to my name. I had $0 in my bank account because I lived paycheck to paycheck in New York, and I think that's what grounded me. And someone actually asked me the question the other day, what motivates you to work so hard with this business? Because most girls would be buying designer handbags and stuff that, have the hot fancy car. I mean, I love my car. It's a BT50U. I love it. I think it's awesome. But you know,
So does our neighbour. Yeah. There's a slight story to that.
she has eyed it off a few times. But you know, for me, like, it really made me think inward of why I work so hard. And I think the biggest thing that makes me work hard and what drives me is my reputation.
Yes.
Like, it's not the fancy bags. It's not, you know, the Lamborghini. Not that I could afford one of those anyway. But at the same time, it's my reputation. I work hard because I want people to say, look at Kimmy's business, or look what she's created. Like, Kimmy's got this community. Kimmy, you know, this. She's still a nice person. That matters to me more than having a designer handbag. It doesn't really interest me.
I love that. And like I said, it's again, another unique thing about you. You've done all this cool shit. You're fucking just such a awesome person, yet you just keep your grounding. Yeah. You just keep it fucking real, which is so uncommon. And I love it.
My head can't get much bigger, so you know.
Yeah, you can definitely get redder though.
Yes.
All right, so last question, Kimbo. Are you ready? Let's fire this shit. So, again, relating it back to the split shift listeners, if somebody listening feels stuck, whether it's in their health, career, or mindset, what's the one uncomfortable but game-changing action they can take today to start creating real momentum?
Ooh, I like this. And it's actually very relevant to me because I have felt stuck recently on a certain part of my life. And someone did spark it, but we'll come back to that. I say, get used to being uncomfortable and just take a step. Just take that step. Like, it doesn't matter that it might not feel natural. You're scared to do it. Starting that journey is going to make 10 times a difference than not starting it at all. And I've recently felt very stuck with my own training, my own health. You know, I live a healthy life. I still train, but it definitely wasn't to the level that I have in the past. And you guys would know this person. He is your BJJ coach, Tiago. And we were all on a night out and we had a good, deep and meaningful conversation. And something that flickered in my mind that someone who doesn't really know me could pick up on was that I was missing my athlete's mindset. And for me, that was that stuck feeling that I was feeling and that I needed to get past. So literally the first thing I did to get uncomfortable was the next time I stepped foot in the gym, I started doing cardio again. And yeah, that for me was such a game changer because I just was like, I don't have time for cardio. I don't have time for this. And, you know, I kept putting it on the back seat, but I did listen to his little tippet of trying to find my athlete's mindset in that deep and meaningful conversation. And it has sparked that uncomfortable action of pushing myself again with my training and not just being complacent. So my advice to people would be okay with being uncomfortable. Just take that first step.
I love that. Get uncomfortable. That is so good. We have a little outro. Oh, sorry, Danny Buzz, you got anything to say?
Tiago, shout out. Shout out. Dude, do the hard and uncomfortable things. Otherwise, Tiago will choke you out.
Athlete's mindset, guys.
Great, no. I got a quick question for you. I'm going to speed run this, so I hope you're ready.
Shit.
10 words or less. Describe what health means to you.
10 words. I'm not good at short ones. 10 words. I would say a balance between mind, body, and spirit. Balance between mind, body, and spirit.
That's definitely.
Yeah, that is for me.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Shit. Perfect.
Love that. Now, 10 words or less, describe what success means to you.
Success to me is being my authentic self while having growth, purpose, and drive.
Is that 10?
And we'll take it. 10? We'll take it.
10.
I made up for the short 5 answer in the next one.
Kimmy, you're the fucking best. Thank you so much for coming
Thank you,
on.
guys.
It's been absolutely amazing.
Mwah.
Kimmy, it's been amazing. Again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. Guys, this is the Split Shift Pod. We hope you enjoyed our first guest speaker. We'd like to thank Kimmy. You want to do a quick shout out?
No, just to these guys. Thanks for having me on here. I've loved every minute of it, and I'm an avid listener. And yeah, go Elite Subs.
Get your subs. This guy,
Sponsored.
Carmel, Shell Harbour, and Fig Tree. Go get your subs. So Kimmy will sort you out in the Illawarra area. We'll see you next week. If you enjoyed this episode, you want to see more guest speakers, like and subscribe on YouTube, as well as leave a 5 stars for us on Spotify, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.